What's up, guys? You're listening to another episode of Selling on Amazon with MZy&x. In this episode, we're going to talk about why being first to market isn't always the best thing. Now, if you're thinking about starting an e-commerce brand, and maybe more specifically on Amazon, but honestly, this episode could apply to any e-commerce business model. It doesn't matter if you're going to sell it on Etsy or Shopify or Amazon. It doesn't really matter. My belief is that it's not always the best thing to be the first to market. Now, there are some very strong case studies out there that prove that being first can give you a significant advantage financially. Like the two ones that come immediately to mind to me are fidget spinners and COVID masks. Like two massive movements over the past, 5 to 10 years. If you were the first one selling fidget spinners online, you probably made multiple millions of dollars. Same thing with masks. If you were one of the first to sell masks on Amazon, or the ones allowed to sell masks on Amazon because that became a whole thing, you probably made multiple millions of dollars. Because again, you were the one who was getting all the sales at the beginning. You were the one who was building all the reviews at the beginning. So there's definitely value there in being first. And I've actually seen it with some of my own students and clients. I've had students who created revolutionary products that pretty much didn't exist on Amazon. And they were first to market, and their brands have taken off and essentially exploded. And of course, the copycats have come because, that's just part of business. And they've still found a way to maintain good sales because they are the first brand to be selling this product. So they've been doing a good job of branding off of Amazon to build up their brand recognition and brand reputation so that they're able to fend off these competitors, right? These knockoff copycats, essentially now selling similar products on Amazon. But then on the flip side, I've also had students who have done a similar thing where they come up with a new revolutionary type of product that, maybe doesn't have a ton of demand on Amazon, but it's a product that's, emerging in culture or whatnot. And they put it up on Amazon and it, just never really takes off. The demand never really gets there. There's some pros and cons definitely to being first to market. From an overall viewpoint though, I think it's safe to say, I think we could all agree on this, that being first to market is a lot more risky. It's a lot more high risk, high reward. If you're first to market, likely let's talk Amazon specifically for a second. If you're the first person to sell a product on Amazon that doesn't exist on Amazon right now, maybe similar, but it's pretty substantially a different concept within a certain type of market, likely there's no demand. And that's the big risk. It is your responsibility to generate the demand. Now, again, this is where two of my students have done poorly, but also really well. So on the poor side, the student who launched a product that was revolutionary and different and didn't exist on Amazon, they failed to create that demand. They failed to really gain much traction with their social media efforts and influencer and that kind of stuff. And then on the other side, I have the student who did very, very well to create the demand. In fact, they have pretty much created all the demand for that market and it never existed beforehand. And so that was done with very, very good social media content that went viral. And then everyone was like, wow, this is a really cool concept. And then people go and start searching for it on Amazon. So they did a really good job of creating the demand. So that's where things really can be high risk, high reward. It comes down to what your ability to generate demand. If again, there is no current demand on Amazon as it stands, you go do keyword research and you're like, no one's searching for this. Is this a good idea or not? It's like, okay, as of right now, unless you create the demand, nobody's looking for your product. So it's going to be really tough to get it out there. Another risk, right? Because this all really comes down to risk reward, Another big risk of being first to market is you don't really know if this is here to stay. I kind of think of it as like the stock market. You can see the stock market going up. Like, let's say it's a product idea, right? A product concept, and you see like it taking off on social media. This is where most of these types of ideas come from. Is it goes viral on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube or whatever. So everyone's like, oh wow, I've never seen this cool avocado peeler contraption or fidget spinner, right? So everyone's like, ooh, I go look on Amazon, nobody's selling it. I'm gonna be the first one to sell it. Again, you're not really sure if like it's a fad or if that is here to stay, right? Because with the fidget spinner thing, that was a pretty strong fad. There's obviously still fidget spinners, but as far as like the massive spike, a strong fad. COVID, a fad. I'm not saying like, we're not going to get into the COVID. I'm done there. Done with the COVID talk. But anyways, there are some products where it's a fad. And the risk is you have no idea how long this fad is going to last. Again, kind of relating this to the stock market. You could look at, history or whatever, or how the stock market has performed the last week, day, month, year, and it could be trending up. So you're like, oh, sweet, stock market is growing, everything's going great. But honestly, at any given moment, it could come crashing down. It could stall. It could just completely die. Like something crazy could happen. We've seen it. Like there is no guarantee the stock market is going to continue to go up every day or every week or every month. We can look at history and make predictions, but there really is no guarantee. So it's the same thing with these kind of fad products, especially early on. If it's like early, super trending, but like only for a couple weeks or a couple months, that's where like it's still early. We really don't know how long this is here to stay. We really don't know if this is a fad or not. So again, you're kind of taking that big risk of the sooner you jump on, yeah, you could pay off huge. But also, it could die just as quick as it took off, and now you got 5,000 units of something that no one is really interested in anymore. So you have to have some good awareness of that market, of that niche, of that customer, and really some gut instinct intuition, and obviously some risk tolerance to say, hey, I really believe that this is going to be a thing for a while to make it worth your time to obviously launch that product. So that's again another risk is that a fad or is it here to stay? Another mistake that I see people make with the being first to market and why this could be a bad thing for you is I see people making the mistake of launching low quality products. Because again, they're like, well, freak, no one's selling fidget spinners. All I got to do is sell a fidget spinner. And so they rush the process. They go as fast as they can to get their fidget spinner to market. They don't pay attention to the, product development, the sampling, the testing, the quality, and they just rush to Alibaba, order 10,000 fidget spinners, chuck them over to Amazon, and they all suck. They're broken. They're cheap. The quality's not there. You get a bunch of bad reviews. Now you can't sell anything and you're stuck with 10,000 fidget spinners. I have seen this happen to people. I have literally seen this happen to people I know. So again, that's just a common mistake is you get so anxious, right? Because this fad, this phase, this craze is taking off and you don't want to miss it. You want to be first, which again, there's value in being first. We've seen it. But you make that critical mistake of skimping out on product development and quality and all that to where it just ends up hurting you a lot more than helping you in being first to market. Another reason why being first to market may not always be the best thing. Let's say the quality is there. Like, okay, like you do a little bit of due diligence. I mean, you're moving pretty fast because you're trying to be first to market, right? But the quality is there. I mean, stuff isn't breaking, it's durable, whatever. But you don't differentiate enough. You just go to Alibaba and you just buy their fidget spinner that, oh, this dude sells fidget spinners and it's great quality. Boom, you buy it. Cool, it's great quality. But you launch it for $20, right? You're like, dang, I get these for $1. I sell them for 20. I'm making a killing. That's awesome. You make a killing for about 2 weeks. And then the Chinese brands roll into Amazon because they're moving just as fast as you are, if not faster. And so you think you're first and you're excited because your sales are exploding. Then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, your sales come crashing to a halt because 5 other Chinese brands just launched the exact same product that you've been selling for $20 and they're selling it for $10. And your sales literally disintegrate overnight. So that's, again, another common mistake. You don't differentiate enough to fend off the Chinese brands. You have no IP, meaning intellectual property. You have no patent. You have no trademark. You have no copyright. You have nothing proprietary about your offer that you can defend so that when the Chinese brands come, you have something to stand on to defend against them, right? Or it's just a generic product. That's the problem. Is like, I literally have seen this with another client. I just was communicating with a potential client of ours and same sort of thing. They did their research. They found a trending product, an emerging market. Great. It's like, okay, this market probably, I felt good too. Like, and this wasn't a member of my coaching programs. This was just a client who came to me. They already had their product selling. They're just like, hey, we need help, mainly with their marketing and advertising. So again, I looked at the product and I was like, this is pretty much exactly like all the other Chinese brands out there. There's nothing unique about yours. And from a branding design, there's no unique branding. There's no unique design. I mean, they have their branding, but like the design, there's nothing unique about it. And again, they're selling theirs a lot more expensive than all these Chinese brands. And they're wondering like, how are we going to sell this and scale this? And that was the mistake they made. They saw, oh, we're early, right? Doing Jungle Scout research 6 months ago. Sweet, we're going to be one of the first people to sell this. It's an emerging market. It's all the craze. It's a new thing everyone's getting into. They get their product. They do all the numbers. Sweet, well, I'm going to sell it for $30. Make an order. It gets here 30, 45 days later. They send it to Amazon and surprise, surprise, there's now 20 Chinese brands selling it for half the cost that they're selling theirs for. That's a huge gut punch. That's a huge like crap. I just spent 6 months getting this product made because I was going to be first and, it's all the rage right now and I was going to make a ton of money. And now you can't even get your product off the shelf because you can't sell for $30 because you came out with a generic product. That's going back to that concept of brandability. You need a product that's brandable. If not, you'll always get beat out by a low price Chinese competitor. You will. If you can't build your brand in the long term, because that's going to take some time, you need customers to buy it, build the reputation, tell their friends, post on social, you build the brand reputation over time. If you don't have that to fall back on and build a foundation on, you're never going to beat these Chinese brands, guys. You can't think that you're just going to sell a generic type of product and be first and just crush it because you have a fun brand name. That is going to be super, super tough. Super tough, especially with generic products. Like I'm talking like plain textile type of products with no design element. It doesn't matter. Even if you like went hard on social media and posted and got tons of followers, at the end of the day, that's a generic product. Like it's going to be pretty freaking hard. You better be really, really good at branding to be able to sell yours for 30 on Amazon when everyone else is selling for 15. Now, are there examples of people building super strong brands around pretty generic products? Yeah. I mean, honestly, I could say Stanley is one of those. A drinking mug, a tumbler, an insulated double wall, whatever you call these things, tumbler. It's a fairly generic product. Yeah, there's a little bit of technology and design element to it and stuff, but like it's a fairly generic product. Stanley is crushing it. But that's because they have crushed the branding element of it. They're very good at the branding side of things. They have done a great job of building a full craze around their product. And not everyone can do that. Not everyone can do that. And so naively getting into a market, a product, a category, thinking that like, oh, but I'm going to be the next Stanley. Okay, I love the energy. I love the belief. But that's going to be freaking hard. Like you better put some serious effort into your branding off Amazon. Not just like, oh, my logo is really cool. It looks cooler than the Chinese ones. That ain't good enough. That is not going to cut it. So just don't be delusional thinking, but Andy, I'm going to be like Stanley. I know it's a generic product, but I'm going to be first, but I'm going to build a great brand. And all you've done is take some really nice photos for your Amazon listing and you have a cool brand name. And that's it. And you post once a week on Instagram and call it a day. That's not branding. You will not survive if that's your strategy. You better be willing to grind and push to get your brand reputation out there if you think that's going to cut it in 2024. This is just a wake-up call for those of you who are, considering these hot products, fad products, right? High risk, high reward type of products. It's possible. It's possible. I don't want to say like, avoid these products at all costs, but you got to understand the risks and you got to understand like all these, nuances to these products and what it takes to really be successful in the long term. Now, what I will say, and this is some advice I give to a lot of students of mine, just because again, I've seen it so many times. If I were to do things, start a brand from scratch myself, or if I were to like say, okay, how would I do this from square one again? Personally, I would start with a nice, established, still growing market. And you can find all this data. You can use Jungle Scout, you can use Smart Scout, you can use all these tools to find this. And you can say, okay, here's a market, here's a sub niche, here's a product that is already proven. It's somewhat mature, but still growing. You don't want a market that's dying. You want a market that's still steadily increasing, but it's proven. That way you can see, you can analyze, you can see what's out there. You can see how you can improve. You can see how people are building brand. And it removes a lot of the risk of just blue ocean, first person to market. Is this a fad or not? There's a lot of safety in going into those markets that are still growing, but are established to where you can really analyze the competition and the numbers and figure out how you can be different and sustainable, even with Chinese brands already selling in that market. So that's my recommendation. But once you get some brand equity, meaning people are following you on social, they're searching your brand up on Amazon, they like your products, right? You've built some brand equity. By all means, at that point, go after some of these more ambitious products. You are going to have an edge if you already have a brand established, a following established on social, going after these first to market, hot product, fad type of products on Amazon. Because one, you have a brand reputation. You can push on social media like, oh, sweet, this product is popping off. Great. You've already got the experience. You already know how the business works. You can get the product to market a lot quicker because you're not the first. This isn't the first time you're doing this. So you can be faster than you would otherwise because you've already had experience with other products. And you've got the brand reputation to build off of. So you can utilize your socials. You can utilize, Amazon brand searches. You've got that going for you. So your conversion rates are going to be a lot better. But then the other thing is you can ride that wave as long or short as it is and then move right on. So if it is fidget spinners or masks or whatever the hot product is, and it is within your niche, don't get googly eyed and start selling random crap outside your niche. But if there's a hot product in your niche, absolutely go swallow that up, maximize that bad boy as long as you can, and then, shut it down. If it dies, if the market and the product dies, shut it down. That's fine. Find another hot product. Go after those seasonal SKUs. That's another big one. Find seasonal products that are really, really hot, high demand, low competition during very specific seasons and build some of those into your portfolio. Having a good arsenal of good evergreen, consistent products you can count on year round, really good seasonal SKUs that you can just spread out throughout the calendar year, and then those hot trending topic products that come and go, you can build very, very well a brand and utilize all those different types of products. But again, having that brand foundation is really going to help. And if it's your very, very first product and that's what you're going after, there's just a lot of risk involved. So I don't want you guys to completely ignore these products, these first to market products, but just understand the risk reward of those products and make sure if you are going to go after them, you better hustle your bustle to generate that demand and build your brand as quick as you can so that when the copycats come, you can beat them out, sustain your brand and your products, be in this for the long term. Because none of us want to work on a business and brand for 6 months, a year, launch a product and then have it die 2 months later and have to start completely over again, right? We want to be able to put in the work up front to have a good foundation in place that we can launch new products, and really focus on fine tuning our business and our brand and our product lines. Yeah, they're not all going to crush it, but we at least have a good foundation that we're building off of to find winners, cut the losers, and, keep this thing growing week over week, month over month, year over year. Guys, appreciate you listening to this episode of Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. Visit my website, www.andyisom.com for more resources, for more help. We're adding all sorts of services and things to our arsenal. So if you need help with anything, go ahead and click that Get Started button. Let us know how we can help. And I'm sure we've got a service or program to help you get some answers or get some help that you're looking for. Once again, guys, I'm Andy. You're listening to Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. We'll see you in the next episode.